Hey guys, Tyler here with the Kingdoms Trading Card Game, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. In today's video, while I am on vacation, I'll be doing a deck profile video of a, wow, if I can get it to focus, a Tannis deck that I built using only the cards that I have. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Alright, so here is the deck profile for the Tannis build. I only was using cards that I have with me, and I really don't have a lot of Tannis cards actually. But now the more that I think about it, because I did talk about this in a vlog, I actually think this deck is okay. It's going to be rather gimmicky. I don't think it would be a deck to win a tournament per se, but I do think it could give some people a hard time. The main idea of this deck is that it is messing with your opponent's hand, and it is constantly having to make your opponent spend more and more magicka to bring cards back out to the field, or it's making them run out of resources because they're having to send them to the graveyard. So for starters, I'll set this deck to the side and grab the cards. 3 Mountain Yetis, good attack, and it's good card draw. So 3 of those. Next, we have Rock Mover. This gives you the ability to give health to a Sacred, which I'm not really concerned about that though, because it sends battle cards back to their owner's hand. And so this could be good just for making your opponent to have to spend magicka where they wanted to spend on other stuff. So 3 of those. Next, just for card draw purposes, and this is a solid drop, I have Frontline Warriors. I don't have a lot of Silvermoor cards. I probably would have went with a Silvermoor deck if I could, but instead running 3 of these to give this more card draw. So right away you got 6 cards that's going to draw you cards when you're playing this game. Maybe not the best card, but for what I have right now, I think this would do. It's a simple phase 1 cost 2 drop. It's got defensive, and using some other cards you can bring these out to the field, and they're just great to have. They're just good cannon fodder, you could say. So 3 of those. Next, unfortunately not a great card, but just doing it to make the deck somewhat usable, somewhat viable, is Tulsa Guardsman. Has defensive, only 500 health, cost 6. But just a good card to throw out. Unfortunately it does cost 6, but if you can make some cards cost a little bit cheaper, or just give yourself some more magicka, at least you're putting cards out on the field. Next, because it fits with the gimmick, is Defender. Actually, it's not too bad, 200, 300, so a little bit lower on the health, but it sends cards from their hand into the fortress. So it's kind of making your opponent maybe lose a card that they actually wanted. So 3 of these. Next, I'm running 1 glass just for the ability to maybe chew through your deck so you can get the cards that you need. So 1 of those. Next, running 3 outpost. Wow, I cannot talk. 3 outpost towers just for the purpose of card draw. I know people like Temple Teacher better, but I don't have a lot of copies of those, and I'm trying to make a couple other decks, so I think outpost tower is a good viable option. 3 of those. Next is Town Bum. Again, it kind of fits with the gimmick of when called to the field, all other players must discard a card from their hands. So this is sending cards to the graveyard, which is really great. Only cost 3, 100, 300 health. That's pretty good. So 3 of those. Next, just because they're staples, well, I'll just start here. Ula can only be ran at 2, and I think Ula's a great card, so definitely want to run 2 of those. Next is Voodoo Salesman. This is kind of a gimmicky card, but this will give you the ability to either A, play some cards for free, or again, make your opponent have to discard some cards to cancel the effect of this. So it could actually, again, it kind of fits with that narrative, and if they don't want to discard cards, it's just as an advantage for you because you get to play cards as well. So I think this is pretty good for this deck. And actually, now that I have it, I kind of want to play with this one. Time Scribe, because you got to have this. Next, when it comes to spells, I have Unity Blades. Attack isn't really good in this deck, so I figured maybe combining them all for 1 attack value, this could come in handy. Obviously, you have to use it wisely. Spiritual Roots, search your graveyard for a spirit-affiliated card and put it into your hand. So maybe if you lost a battle card that you really need, you could pull that. Or if you really wanted to get Unity Blades for another attack that you needed, there's a lot of options, and I think this would be a good card to have. Next, I have Retreat. This kind of fits the gimmickiness or the goal of this deck, where both you and your opponent send a card from the field to the graveyard. And so there's a lot of ways that this could benefit you from sending a card to the graveyard, because maybe it'd give you card draw, or maybe you could just get it right back right away using that Spiritual Roots card. Next, because there isn't a lot of attack in this deck, I am running 3 and Powers, and I just think that's a good card. Only costs 3 magicka. In terms of tokens, I'm only running 3, 3 Masters tables, just trying to get the most magic card I can, but I don't want to run too many tokens, which might cause this deck to be slow. But there's a fair amount of card draw, and maybe through some report abilities you could see what you need. Lastly, 1 Charlotte. I think this spirit would be perfect. It'd be nice to run 3 of these, but again, I'm kind of limited with what cards I have, but I think this could come in play. Because I'm limited with the number of good cards that I have, you definitely have to be particular when you play this. Lastly, in terms of Sacred, Tanis Dwelling Place, an Eastern Vantage Point, a Cattle Farm, Skylight Fountain, and a Schwal Waterfall. In terms of picking cards, I probably would start with Eastern Vantage Point and then Tanis' Dwelling Place, phase 1, phase 2. That'd be my thought, because this would allow me to get through my deck for what I need, and then this is just a solid card to have. But Schwal Waterfall, you know, that could give my cards greater attack later on. I don't know, Skylight Fountain might be a lock at pick 3, so that way you at least have a chance to stay alive, and then Cattle Farm is just for the purpose of Magicka. So that is the deck profile with kind of some explanation of how it's supposed to play. Let me know what you think of this deck in the comments below. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. It always means a lot. Before I come to a conclusion, I do want to end with a Bible talk. If you are someone that believes in Jesus and you have a Bible, which I hope you do, and you haven't read the book of Hebrews, I really encourage you to do so. Some of you might read it and you might get a little overwhelmed because it is a little bit longer, or some of the stuff might not make sense to you. But what the book of Hebrews really reminds us as believers in Jesus, as as children of God, is that Jesus went through every single thing that we have went through as well, and that he understands what it's like to go through sin. And the amazing thing is that if you have something that you're struggling with, if you just ask Jesus to walk with you, if you just ask the Holy Spirit to be with you as you try to fight the urge to sin or do whatever, he will walk with you through it and always give you a way out and give you the power to choose to walk out of that situation. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Everything that I want you to know about is in the description box below. And whatever time of the day that you are watching this, whether it be the morning, evening, or night, thank you very much for watching. Thanks.